So appreciate everybody coming out. I guess the numbers are down a little bit because some people, I guess a bunch of the students are on Thanksgiving break, which I get. Just kind of going back through Rutgers, we won the turnover battle. We won the explosive play battle, won the third down battle, won the sack battle, won the drive start battle, won the penalty battle. So all those were real positives. I think one of the big positives for the offense was the offense met their explosive play battle and their third down battle. And we only had one missed assignment during the game. So again, Ty and Jay Wan and the staff and players did a really good job. Talk about players of the game. Offense, Bo Perbula. Defense, Chop Robinson. Special teams, Alex Felkins and Riley Thompson. And then the D squad players of the week, Addison Penn, Jack Lambert, Lamont Payne, Caleb Artis, and Jace Tutty. So appreciate all those guys and all their hard work. Just some last few positives. I thought we played really good complementary football. You know, we emphasized critical stats versus Rutgers this week, turnover margin, field position battle when it comes to special teams, and then the line of scrimmage battle when it comes to rushing, who rushed for the most yards in that game. And we were able to, really be successful in all three of those stats. And then I thought our specialists are playing at a really high level. Our punter, Thompson, 52-yard average. Our kicker, Felkins, 2 for 2 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points. And then also 2 touchbacks. And then, Tyler Jazansky doing his job. So all positives. Michigan State, got a ton of respect for Harlan Barnett. As a man and as a coach, he's really well thought of within the conference from all the coaches, and has been there for a while and is obviously a Michigan State guy. Kind of getting into their staff and kind of what they do. Jay Johnson, the offensive coordinator, his 4th year, at Michigan State. They're a spread team, West Coast based, 11 personnel. A wide variety of runs, that center around zone schemes. 11 personnel team, majority of the time. They will mix in a little bit of 12 personnel. We have been pretty impressed with Malik Carr, big tight end, 6'6", 260 pounds. Really has the ability to make plays in the passing game. Is a challenge there, is a problem there. Running back Nate Carter. And then wide receiver number 83, Montori Foster, all guys that jump out to us on tape. And then defensively, Scotty Hazelton, 4th year at Michigan State, has done a nice job. They're a 4-down front, some variation of either 4-3 or 4-2 when they go nickel. We've been impressed by Cal Halliday, the local kid, playing middle linebacker for him, very productive. Aaron Brule, the linebacker, and then their nickel / safety 43 Malik Spencer, and then last their safety number 1 Jaden Mangan. So guys that we got a bunch of respect for. And then on special teams, Ross Ells, their punter Ryan Eckley, number 96, and then their kick return, punt return, number 2 Tyrell Henry. So don't really have any other changes to discuss with you on the depth charts or things like that. No real changes when it comes to red shirting and those types of things. So open up the questions.
Let's go to Rich Garcella and then Mike Gross. You're on deck.
Good afternoon, James. How are you today?
Can't hear you, Rich.
Good afternoon, James. How are you today?
Good. I got you now.
Okay.
Hey, Rich, before you start, string beans or collard greens?
String beans. Although I do like collard greens as well.
Yeah. Some of these I knew what the answers would be before I asked.
Yeah, but I like collard greens. Yeah.
Dinner rolls or no, we're not done, Rich. Dinner rolls or cornbread?
Oh man, that's tough. We usually have dinner rolls, but I like cornbread as well.
What'd you say, Rich?
I said we usually have dinner rolls, but I like cornbread as well.
So which one you going with?
In a pinch, dinner rolls.
Okay. Again, I figured. And then
Okay.
the last one is the best one.
I know where you're
The Thanksgiving dinner or the leftovers.
Leftovers.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
Except I'm not going to get any this year because you're playing on Friday.
You can take some Tupperware with you, can't you?
I don't know how the airlines will take
That's fair.
that. Not
That's
sure.
fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Have you learned anything about Drew Allor that you're willing to share with us since Saturday? And if he can't go, how ready do you guys think that Bo is?
Yeah. So if you guys want to speed up the process, have your answers ready to go. Yeah, we expect Drew to go. Just like we planned on last week. I still think both of those guys will have roles. Not dinner rolls, but roles. And I think Bo will be ready to go. He did a great job. He didn't flinch. The staff didn't flinch. The players didn't flinch, and went in and made plays like we expected him to make. So, but it's too early for me to say. We have not practiced yet since the game, but all indications, I would think we'll be, back to normal.
Let's go to Mike Gross and then Donnie Collins. You're on deck.
Good afternoon, James. How are you?
Good, Mike. You got your answers, or do I need to ask you?
Oh, you need it's the same questions as Rich?
Yeah. Everybody's got the same
okay.
questions.
Collard greens by a mile.
Wow, Mike Gross, I hear you.
Cornbread
Didn't
by a
expect that.
mile.
Mike,
By a mile, yeah. And what was the other one?
the last one was the actual Thanksgiving dinner or leftovers.
Yeah, right. Leftovers.
Mike, me and you are three. I didn't realize we had so much in common, me and you.
Well, we got a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wide receivers. It seems like the last couple of weeks, maybe you'll disagree with this or tell me that I'm wrong, but it seems like the last couple of weeks, they have been less involved, not only in terms of production, but in terms of how much they've been targeted even. And I know you didn't throw the ball much at all on Saturday, but Lambert Smith, for example, played more snaps than any other wideout, but was not targeted at all. So are you at the point where you're sort of game planning around as much involvement of the wide receivers as you previously had, or are they just not getting open enough?
Yeah. So number one, that was something we talked about this morning. We obviously want to get those guys some more targets. And I think I told you guys this before. A lot of times we have, whether it's shots, and we had lengthy discussions about that, or targets. And then a lot of times we'll check out of the play because we don't get the look that we were anticipating. But we want to get those guys more involved. We want to get as many guys touches as possible. But I will also say, too, I think our tight ends have been very productive all year long. And I would say, that's been part of it as well, is emphasizing getting those guys more targets. Earlier in the year, you guys said we weren't targeting the tight ends enough. So that's the real reason why we changed it. But honestly, it's a combination of, we got to get those guys a few more touches and targets. There's no doubt about it. But there has also been, I think us playing a little bit more 12 personnel and a little bit more of that in the passing game too.
Let's go to Donnie Collins and then Johnny McGonigal. You're on deck.
How are you doing, James?
Good. How are you?
Good. Collard greens, cornbread if it's ham, cornbread if it's turkey, rolls if it's ham, and the dinner is better than the leftovers.
Okay, so wait, say this again about about what you're pairing, because you're doing like wine pairings with the cornbread, right?
Yeah, and it's got to be the good cornbread. It can't be the dried out stuff that you get at some places. But because I can't make cornbread, I'm not good at it. I dry it out, so I have to do cornbread with turkey and rolls with ham. But usually it's a turkey on Thanksgiving, obviously.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't know if that's obvious, but yeah. Okay.
Well, no, it's a turkey. It's Thanksgiving. It's got to be.
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Opinions stated as facts. It's not the
Opinions
first
stated as
time we've been
facts.
down this road with you guys. Yeah.
and I would like more tight end targets.
Yeah.
As long as we're asking.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So, I want to ask about the consistency of the defense from week 1 through, I guess, last week, because you mentioned that every team, every season, no matter what the sport, has ups and downs. But it seems like the defense has been, I mean, I would say consistently productive from snap 1 through the last snap of the last game. Where does that mentality come from? How have they been able to kind of keep that even keel when it seems like it's not an easy thing to do?
Yeah. So a couple things. First of all, we've been fortunate to play good defense here for a while. But I do believe that Manny's done a phenomenal job of not only taking what we've been able to do here over 10 years, but taking it to another level. And obviously we've discussed a slightly different style. This style, you have the ability to be more suffocating, which we've talked about in the past, because there's not a whole lot of gimme free yards on the field with as much press coverage as we play. And then I think he's just done a really good job of teaching and promoting standards of what the standards of the Penn State defense are all about. I think he's done a really good job of teaching the defensive players how to view the game, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, but also teaching football in general, which we spend a lot of time on. And I think Manny's done a really good job. One of the things we talk about, okay, we'll have a message in the team meeting room, and then I'd love the coordinators to take that message and not only reinforce the message, but then also kind of talk about how this connects to offensive football or defensive football or special teams football. And then you go to the position rooms and the position coaches do the same thing. Manny's done a really good job of that, of teaching football, of setting standards of how we practice, whether it's a full speed drill, whether it's a jog through period. And is just really, really taken the defense to a different level from a consistency standpoint. But then also just kind of the style that we're playing overall. But has done a really good job. And really the defensive staff. I know Manny, I was looking at your name, Donnie. I know Manny would want to credit the defensive staff as well. Anthony Poindexter has been great. Terry Smith has been great. Deion Barnes has been great, and really the analysts as well. And I think that's another thing that's interesting is, Manny trusted, didn't really want to make any changes on the defensive staff, wanted to hire a defensive coordinator and keep the staff intact. And he came here, brought Coach Lister with him, and Coach Lister's done a great job. And those two guys have really done a good job of just kind of melting in with the existing staff and just playing really well. So, yeah, I think your description is well deserved, and Manny's done a phenomenal job, and it's been earned and appreciated across the board.
Let's go to Johnny McGonigal and then Mark Wogenrich.
How we doing, James?
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
Good. Green beans, cornbread, and leftovers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Leftovers are key.
Leftovers that night or leftovers that morning, the next day, or all above?
All the above, but the leftovers that night after you take a nap during the Cowboys game and then waking up and hitting up the leftovers is, I think, a pro move.
Fair. Is your leftovers like another plate, or is it like a sandwich made with all of it on there?
It's a sandwich. It's a sandwich, yeah.
I like what you're doing, John. I like what you're doing.
So James, Nick Singleton, he's had his moments, but it's probably fair to say that the season hasn't gone the way that many thought it might for him after the way he played as a freshman. How have you seen him kind of handle this season, week by week, practice by practice?
Yeah, I guess I understand the question, but I guess what I would say is, to me, there's a lot more to playing well than just the runs and just the stats. So, for example, I think when we go back and grade Nick's tape this year and compare it to last year, I think he's going to grade out as well, if not better, in being a well-rounded football player. So what I mean by that is, if you look at him blocking for Katron Allen on the goal line touchdown the other day, he blocked his guy 5 yards into the end zone. I think that is a distinct improvement from where he was last year. If you look at his ability to catch the ball, run routes, and be a legitimate factor in the passing game, I think he's dramatically improved in that area of his game. So I think, again, if you just take the stats, yeah, I get it. But when you study the game, like I know you are as a true football guy, and really study the tape, I think he's improved as a football player. And I think down the road, when these things are evaluated by the people that evaluate players nationally, I think this year is really setting him up for a ton of success in his future, not only at Penn State, but afterwards. So, I view it differently, right? Like there's also players that may have 3 or 4 exciting, explosive runs, but then they're not doing the other things. And fans and a lot of media say, oh, well, he had an unbelievable game, and they really didn't, So I think when you're really studying the tape and all of it, I think he's had a better year.
Let's go to Mark Wilgenish and then Frank Bodani. You're on deck.
Hey, James, happy Thanksgiving. I'm coming to
You as
Donnie's
well,
house.
Mark.
I'm coming to Donnie's house Thursday.
So does that mean you're?
Oh yeah,
you're on the same-
cornbread, collard greens, and dinner. Yep, that's mine.
Nice.
So how did you assess the way Ty and J1 called that game offensively, and also before and after Drew left?
Yeah, to me, it's all of it, right? To me, it's all of it. I was very pleased with how we operated from the Lash building and in the office, and how we game planned, how the scripts were done the night before, how the cards were done early for the scout team, and we could look them over and work through in detail. Are these the exact looks we're anticipating and getting in the game? I thought the collaboration, the environment that was created, that everybody spoke up and had opinions, I thought that was really good. I thought J1 and Ty were really good complementary pieces of each other. I thought when they got up in front of the team, they did a really good job of explaining how we are going to play offense this week and how that's going to put our team in the best position to be successful. I thought all that stuff was really good. And then on game day, I thought they did a really good job throughout the game of making them defend the whole field, putting people in conflict, and then also when we had success with plays, going back to them and forcing the defense to adjust. A lot of times you have a successful play, you want to run it before they get back to the sideline again. You don't want to get back to the sideline and let the coaches get on the chalkboard and make the adjustments. I thought the halftime stuff was really good as well. I thought, I thought though the one backed up situation, if I was going to be critical in any area, and I could have been better here in helping them. I thought the one backed up situation where we didn't take time off the clock, didn't get a first down, and put our defense in a position, that was not advantageous. That would be the one thing, be a little bit critical of, either we got to get a first down with the plays that we called, or we at least got to run the ball and eat some time off the clock. But besides that, I thought it was really good. And I think they'll build on it this week. I think the biggest thing that I said to you guys before is both J1 and Ty are loyal and appreciative to Penn State, loyal and appreciative to our players and to the staff. And they've created an environment like that, which I thought was really good last week. And I think we'll refine the process even more this week. And I think it was one of the few weeks again where third down and explosive plays, we met both of those in the same week. And I can't remember a week where we only had one missed assignment. The game plan was smaller and tighter than it had been all year, but still enough to cause challenges to a really good defense. I think Rutgers is a really good defense, and I think they do a good job.
Frank Bodani and then Corey Geiger.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, James.
You too, Frank.
We're going with string beans for Thanksgiving, traditional, though I do love collard greens. My wife's from Northern Kentucky. Her honey cornbread, got to go with this. Would you like to try some?
I was just going to say, because I did get the cranberry sauce. I think it was last year. That may have been the best cranberry sauce I've ever had from Ben's mom. Okay. So would say it again. It's honey cornbread.
Yeah, it's sweet cornbread, not.
Yeah, I don't like the other stuff.
Yeah, the other stuff's not right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd like to try some?
Yeah, but like I don't know if with one slice will be enough. If possible,
we don't make it in slices. We make it in bigger portions. They're good.
Right. I'd like the whole portion if possible for me to really be able to tell.
You got it. All right, we'll make it happen. And Thanksgiving leftovers for a week afterwards. Okay.
For a week.
Yes.
When is it getting on the edge?
As long as the turkey's good. Sorry, in parentheses.
Okay. All right, good.
So Bo Pribula we haven't seen him throw the ball much. Talk about his pass game. Had you hoped to get him more pass attempts earlier this year? And can you just talk about his throwing game for us? Yeah,
so I think a couple of it's situational, right? Like we've had passes in for him every week, but then you also get into a situation where the majority of his reps have come in 4-minute football where you're trying to run the ball as much as you possibly can. And by running the quarterback, you even the numbers out. It's funny because I went up to him on Saturday, and although there was a lot of time left in the game, we still wanted to milk the clock. It's funny, one of the chain gang guys was kind of upset because we were in the huddle too long early in the call. And I'm like, we're doing that on purpose. Like, we're in a good position with the game right here. We want to put a really good drive together. We want to eat the clock. And I said something to Bo about it. And Bo was like, yeah, I'm used to this. I know how to operate. This is what I've been doing all year long. So yes. But again, I think part of it is just kind of where you're at in the game and does the situation warrant that? But as you can imagine, there's been more in his package than what you've seen. Yes, sir.
Last question from Zoom, Corey Geiger.
Corey.
Morning. Good afternoon, James. I hate all these things you guys are talking about with the food. I don't eat any of it. So
you hate them? It's not that you don't like them. Like
I eat turkey, stuffing, yams, smother it all with gravy. That's it. I only eat one Thanksgiving meal a year. I only eat turkey once a year. Those are the only things I eat. I'll eat 5 pounds of it, but that's it.
And you said you eat what again? Turkey, you said stuffing and gravy.
turkey stuffing, yams. It also has to be stovetop stuffing, not the bird stuffing. So I'm pretty particular.
So does that make you particular that you like stovetop? Is that
Yes. Over the I hate bird stuffing. It's I make my own stovetop and everybody else eats the bird stuffing.
did you call it burnt stuffing?
Birds, the
Oh,
stuffing that's inside the
bird.
bird.
I thought you said burnt. I'm like, it doesn't have to be burnt.
I will say this: my wife cooks an excellent turkey, so I hope everybody else can say that as well.
Yeah, yeah, nice recovery.
Yeah. Right.
So do you not eat vegetables in general? Are you a non-vegetable?
I do not eat vegetables in general at all unless it's smothered with ranch dressing. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in bad shape. I work out a lot, but I'm worried about the vegetable thing.
Do you take vitamins?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't there somebody recently that came out publicly said they've never eaten a vegetable?
Al Michaels.
Yeah.
All right. I've got an easy question for you, although this might be hard for you to come up with an answer. What are you most thankful for with Penn State football and being the coach?
So you're talking about specifically professionally with football.
Anything, any criteria you want. Just what are you
Yeah,
most thankful for about your situation?
I think the people, I love the players that I've been able to get to know and their families on a significant level over the last 10 years. And that's probably become more, I probably have become more aware of that, even to be honest with you, because of Vanderbilt. Like, it's amazing how many of those players that played for us at Vanderbilt have stayed in touch, have come here to visit, that I connect with when I'm out of town. Those relationships are real significant relationships. You see players coming back to games here or on the road. The relationships with the players and the ups and downs and twists and turns of what healthy relationships go through with the staff, all the people that work in Lash Building, all the different roles. I think about the people, on campus that I've been able to develop relationships, whether it's Neely Bendapudi, or whether it's Michael Wade Smith or Pat Kraft or Vinny, Matt Schuyler. I think back to people like Dave Joyner, who hired me and gave me this opportunity, and Sandy, and Eric Barron. I just think about the people. I think about the quarterback club, which was something I was like against when I got here. I'm like, I'm going to go over during the week. And that relationship, I look forward to that now with the quarterback club. Sometimes you don't necessarily want to go, to the press conference and answer questions. Sometimes you don't want to go to the quarterback club and answer questions, but I'd say the people, Steve Jones and Jack Ham and, just the people. It's Chris or Greg. I think at the end of the day, that's really what it is, right? It's about relationships and people, and you got your family, and then you have your extended family. So that's probably the thing I am most thankful for, is all the wonderful, different people that I've gotten to know. And I think you guys have heard me talk about this before. I think that's what's so great about college football, is the locker room is full of people from totally different backgrounds. And I think our world can learn a lot from a college football locker room, because literally you got people that could not be any more different from the way they were raised, from their educational experience, ethnic backgrounds, religious diversity. And it's it's as good as it gets, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people could learn a lot by being a part of a college football locker room, and probably a lot of sports, to be honest. I think that's where sports are so valuable to the educational process, which I know is questioned at times, deservedly so, questioned at times. But I think when the professors come and they're part of our guest coach program, I think they leave feeling like, you know what, this is truly a compliment to what they're learning in the classroom. And I'm very proud of all of that. And that's probably the things I'm most thankful for.
Please raise your hand and we'll take a mic to you. We'll start with Mark.
Wow, I have to follow up on that. That was, I would say Southern kind of Thanksgiving. So collard greens, cornbread, deep fried turkey on the day of Thanksgiving. That work?
Yeah. Why Southern?
Well, because that's more of I think a Northern Thanksgiving is more the traditional green beans, rolls.
No, I agree with that. I'm saying, where does your affinity come for like Southern?
I learned to deep fry turkeys a while ago, and I kind of enjoyed that. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, getting back to what you were just saying, the relationship.
How do you do it? Because I see a ton of videos of people like breaking their houses down, or their
I haven't
cars.
done it in a while. Since we moved into a nice house, that kind of ended, or a decent house, that kind of.
So it's okay to burn down the other one.
Yeah, or you do it in the yard or whatever.
Yeah,
But it's
dangerous, right?
yeah, but it's a lot of fun. Seriously, you should try it sometime.
Okay.
But going back to what you were saying about relationships and whatnot, can you talk about the relationship that Ty and J1 kind of have built? We see them before every game running around the field together. These are guys from two different backgrounds, two different kind of, age groups, but it looks like they really get along. And how important is that with what they're trying to do together here, what they are doing together?
Yeah, I think that's something, we work hard at. We spend a lot of hours together. So a lot of times that happens organically and happens naturally, just kind of over time. I think you guys know we do the share thing where guys get up in front, players and staff get up in front of the team and kind of share some personal things about their background. I think that's been helpful. But at the end of the day, they're just two really good guys and have really good families. And I think specifically for J1 and probably Ty a little bit as well, but the longer you're in this profession, you realize what we have here at Penn State is hard to find. A place where you legitimately can offer a kid a great education, that you can play big time football at the very highest level, in a community that makes sense in terms of raising your family and being able to see your family, and then work around good people in the office. An environment where your kids and wife can come to the office every single day. So I just think they're old enough and experienced enough to appreciate that. And they've been places where maybe they've gone somewhere and didn't get that. So value it here, or they've seen people leave here and go somewhere else, and they've been trying to get back here since they left. I think all those things in that perspective is valuable. And I think with those two guys, I think they're experienced enough to recognize it. And I think they've also developed deep and significant relationships with their rooms. I also think that's one of the reasons why they've recruited so well at their positions and why we probably have such great depth at those two positions. Because I think other people recognize that as well, the type of men they are and how invested they are here.
Audrey? I like my coffee black. 1, 2, 1. You got it.
Why are you making this more challenging than it used to be?
Yeah, this first answer was beans.
Okay.
We're several were into it. Roll was 2, and then 1 was regular Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we said option 1, option 2, option. We just kind of listed them out. So
Just speeding up the process.
yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe not.
Okay.
A few minutes ago, you said that the game plan was smaller and tighter than it has been all year. I guess, did you feel previously that it was maybe too robust? Was this beneficial, or is this just kind of a perfect storm that it lined up that way?
Yeah. Again, I think this is kind of like when I get asked questions that I think, I don't know if necessarily they're meant to be, but I get asked questions sometimes about the players or the staff that if I answer it the way you asked the question could be divisive. I get questions sometimes, and again, I'm not saying it's meant to be. I don't want to do anything that's going to come off as disrespectful to anybody that's been here. What I will say to answer your question is that's always the challenge, right? How tight can you get the game plan to allow the players to get enough reps versus all the different looks that they possibly could get in the game to play fast and assignment sound, but not too small that there's not enough things in the plan to give the defense challenges and issues. So that is always the constant battle. I remember when I first became a coordinator, being a West Coast, coming from a West Coast system, the game plan was massive. And then the longer you do it, you realize you want to give the guys just enough. So every year my game plans got smaller and smaller and smaller. But then again, that's where it's an art and not just a science, where's that sweet spot? So what we try to do is say, okay, let's have the numbers. How many plays do we have in the game plan in week 1, week 2? Let's go back last year. How many plays do we have in the game plans? What games did we play the best in? What was the sweet spot? But then not just the number of plays in the game plan, how many of those plays are new concepts? Not the same play run from a different formation with a different motion. That's fine. How many of those plays are new concepts as well? And what's the sweet spot for that as well? Typically that may show up on 3rd down and red zone, or that may show up with a trick play or a shot. So all those things have to be factored in. And to me, that's where the best ones are. They're as tight as they possibly can be with the game plan, but not so tight that it becomes simplistic and easy for the defense. So that's constantly a challenge each week. And then I would also say the more complex the defense you're playing, then probably the smaller the game plan needs to be. The more base and standard the defense is, then maybe you can be a little bit more creative. And you're trying to balance all of those things each week. So that's a constant battle and struggle. John?
Hey, James. Over here on your right. String beans, cornbread, and Johnny nailed it. It's the post-Cowboys game after a nap. Leftovers that really hit it. Yeah.
I think that was the quicker way of doing it.
All about efficiency over here.
Yeah, I do that with my wife, which really drives her crazy.
Time too.
She asks me 2 different questions. I go, yes, she hates that.
It makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
I do it all. We've talked about Drew a lot, especially last week, and how he was handling the change and everything. Where was his confidence level at Saturday before he left the game? And do you feel like you were able to kind of build things before he exited with the injury to a point where he was confident and felt good?
Yeah, I think he's been confident each week, and I think his numbers back that up. I mean, his numbers are really good. Has there been times where he hasn't been in rhythm? Yes. Has there been times where he's missed some throws that he'd like to have back? Yes. Has there been times where we didn't protect him as well as we should have? Yes. Has there been times where we didn't create enough separation in the passing game, whether it's a tight end or receiver or running back? Yes. But those same conversations he'll be having the rest of his career and will be having the rest of his career. But in terms of his confidence during the week and the plan, yes. His confidence on Saturdays, yes. But there's definitely the exciting thing to me. I think there's a ton of room for improvement with him and with us.
Neil?
Hey, Neil.
Hey, James. Green beans. And Chris put some mushrooms on them Saturday. They were good. Dinner rolls and the main Thanksgiving meal. Thankful for that.
What do you mean?
Chris had green beans with like a cream and mushroom in the media room. Now you're not up there.
Was it a Thanksgiving meal? I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. So you're talking about like a mushroom soup over top of the green
Well, I
beans?
don't know if it was a full soup, but it tasted good.
Nice.
We appreciate it.
What's that?
There you go.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
Chris, who provided this meal? BJC catering people, just so the BJC catering people know. The green beans with the mushrooms were a hit. Well, yeah, I'm saying
On a serious note, there was a report last week that a recruit said you told him that before the Michigan game that Mike Yursich wasn't going to be here. And I wondered if you could clarify that or if that decision had already been made.
Yeah, I think you guys know me well enough that that's not the case. And I can't talk specifics about recruits, as you guys know. But I think you guys know me well enough. Every recruit that I've ever met with, I talked to the recruit about committing to Penn State and committing to me, because the nature of college football, I don't want there to be a coaching change or a coach leaves to go be the head coach at Virginia Tech or Old Dominion or Mississippi State, and now all of a sudden you're unsure. So I cover that with every single recruit. But I also can see that based on the timing of how things played out, that for a young kid, him being kind of, connecting the dots in the wrong way. But I know the media that all cover that and is talking to a young kid can kind of figure it out, and I think you guys know how I go about my business. I would never do that. That doesn't make sense. But for a young kid, I could see how the timing of that, you would connect those dots and they're not really connected. But I know all of you guys, wouldn't connect the dots that way and wouldn't write it that way, because you've been around me and how I go about things for a while. So I wouldn't put a kid and a recruit in that type of position.
Got time for one more, Ben?
Flash fast or go-go?
What was that?
I was just trying to cause problems.
No. What'd you say?
The flash fast offense or the go-go offense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Green beans, biscuits, and leftovers. Biscuits wasn't an option, but I run my own playbook.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
My mom, I think she said the other week that it looked like you could use some cranberry sauce. So I don't know what her plan is.
A few pounds.
Yeah. It seems almost impossible to imagine that the offseason is going to come and no one's going to want to hire Manny. And as I understand it, which might not be right, that his arrangement with Miami makes it a different sort of retention situation for you guys in terms of what he's taking home, aside from the fact that you've been supportive of guys getting head coaching jobs, pairing that potential with the offensive coordinator hire. How do you kind of attack that, especially in the face of everything that's about to change in the league?
Yeah, I think as you guys know, every off season, that's a challenge when you have good people and you have talented people. We got to do everything we possibly can to retain them and for them to feel good and appreciated. And that's with the entire staff. That's with the entire staff. There's no doubt about it. I think what we've talked about in the past is
what can we do? What do we need to do here at Penn State to make sure that guys don't leave for lateral moves? To me, that's really the main focus. Is we got to make sure that assistants don't leave to be assistants, that coordinators don't leave to be coordinators. If guys have a chance for a clear, obvious promotion, we want that for him. You'd like to create a situation here for Manny and his family that he wants to be here until he has an opportunity to get a really good head coaching job. That's going to allow him to flourish. I think Brent handled it probably as well as any. Is he had a great job, turned down a bunch of jobs waiting for the right one. And I think what happens is, I think the older and the longer you're in this profession, you recognize that, right? It's assistant coaches not leaving, for titles. If the assistant coaches have an opportunity to go be the coordinator and call the offense or the defense or special teams, then they should do that. If that's what they want to do professionally. But for myself and Pat and Vinny, we're going to try to do everything we possibly can to make sure that guys aren't leaving for lateral moves. And to me, that's the focus. The other opportunities, I think that's in their best interest if it's the right job. And it's also, I think, a compliment to what we're doing here.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
You as well.